Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sports Hits with cwit. Happy to have you here today. Got a great show planned for you guys, so stick around because it's going to be a great one here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Steel City Sport 4. Again, that's Steel City Sport 4 to get caught up with all the news in the sports world, mainly focusing on Pittsburgh sports. So let's get started, but first, hit the music.
Yeah, you know what it is. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, you know what it is. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, you know what it is. Everything I do it big. Yeah, screaming that's none. When I pulled off the lot, that's none. Here up in my town, when you see me, you know everything. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I put it down from the whip to my diamonds. I'm in black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
And welcome back, everybody, to Sports Hits with cwit. I'm your host, Colin Whitty. So last night, the two best words in sports have come along, and those two best words are Game 7. As you may have heard, the Washington Nationals and the Houston Astros battled last night for Game 7, but the Nationals ended up winning 6-2, which is surprising because, a fun fact, every game in this series, the away team has won. So much for home field advantage in baseball, am I right, guys? But the Nationals came back. The Nationals, fun fact for you guys, in the beginning of the year, they were 19-31 to begin the year, and then now they're World Series championship. Steven Strasburg crowned World Series MVP, well-deserved for him. He's been balling out this postseason and the World Series. So the game was kind of a balanced game, the first 5 innings. Astros struck in the first with Yuri Gurriel's home run. If I'm not mistaken, yes, he did hit a home run. Then Carlos Correa hit a ball down the line, which scored one, and then the runner went first or third, and then they couldn't capitalize. Then in the top of the 7th inning, Anthony Rendon went deep for a solo shot that seemed to spark the Nationals, and then I think the next guy walked. Yeah, Juan Soto walked, and then Howie Kendrick, I think it was Will Harris that came in the pitch, if I'm not mistaken. Will Harris came in, and he gave up a walk to Juan Soto, and he gave up the 2-run shot to Howie Kendrick, who has been phenomenal this postseason. Obviously, he had game-winning home run versus the Dodgers back in the division series, but the Nats win the series, and so Howie Kendrick hits a home run. It's 3-2. Then they kind of go back and forth, and then the following inning, Adam Eaton with a big 2-run single, I'm pretty sure. That scores 2. It's now 5-2, and then Anthony Rendon gets a little insurance on the board. But the key to the game, obviously the pitching matchups. We're going to be looking at that for a second. Zach Greinke went 6 1/3, gave up 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts. He was phenomenal last night. I mean, this guy has been phenomenal ever since they got him at the trade deadline. He has been phenomenal in Arizona, and he has been phenomenal for the Astros. He pitched very well last night. Gave it up to Will Harris. He didn't get an out. He gave up 2 hits and 1 earned run. Obviously, I just told you he gave up the home run to Howie Kendrick, so he couldn't capitalize on that. Then they turn to Roberto Ozuna, the young player. He was pitched 1 1/3 innings, 2 hits, and 1 earned run. Ryan Pesley came in, got an out. Joe Smith came in, got 1 out, 2 hits, and 2 earned runs, and then Jose Urquidy got 2 outs with 1 hit. So Nationals pretty balanced, if you would say the least. But the thing about the Nationals, I think they stranded 12 or 10 base runners last night. You can't do that, especially in Game 7, and especially there's no excuses for the Astros anymore, especially with the bats that they got. But to the Astros, we go to the Washington Nationals. Max Scherzer, just another solid start from him. Wasn't the greatest last night. Threw a lot of pitches. He went 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, four walks, and 3 strikeouts. When I tell you those lines, five innings, 7 hits, four walks, and only 3 strikeouts. You guys think how many runs did he put up? About 4, 5, 6, something. This guy only gave up 2 runs. He got out of jams when he needed to, and he was phenomenal last night for the first 5 innings of the game. For 6, 7, and 8, they went to Patrick Corbin, and this guy was absolutely outstanding last night. It's hard to match up a guy who is a difference maker like Patrick Corbin. He really had the Astros on their tippy toes. Just had 3 strikeouts last night, only allowed 2 hits. One was to Gurriel. He was phenomenal. And then Daniel Hudson, the former Pirate, who had, I think, 2 Tommy John surgeries. It was a good story for him. Daniel Hudson, former Pirate, he did great last night. Couldn't really touch the fastball. And then that slider to end it to Michael Brantley at the end there. But you look at this game and you see the pitching for the Astros really struggled. Their bullpen and the Nationals were lights out. Daniel Hudson and Patrick Corbin, as well as Zach Scherzer. And you look at this Nationals team; they've done it all postseason. They've been phenomenal the past couple of games. Obviously, going up 2-0 and then dropping the next 3 at home. This team showed a lot of dogfight going back to Houston. And they deserve the World Series of 2019. So I'm going to bring up a topic here, and it's, did the Astros choke or did the Nats just win? Now, you could say this is both ways, because did the Astros choke? I guess so, but you're not really going to say choke. They did drop the first 2 at home, which hurt them a lot. They went and got the next 3 in Washington, which was key. Then they lost the next 2 at home to eventually lose the series. But I'm going to say the Nats just won, and I'm going to tell you why. This Nationals team has done it all this postseason. They were 19-31 the first, what is that? Quick math, 50 games of the year. Yeah, they showed resilience. Obviously, Bryce Harper leaving this offseason didn't seem to matter for the Nationals. Juan Soto came in and did a great job. All those outfielders there. Anthony Rendon was phenomenal. Trey Turner was phenomenal. Ryan Zimmerman, the longtime 15-year veteran, has been phenomenal this postseason, both in the field and at the plate. But the Nationals deserve this, and I'm going to tell you why. The Nats, they win the first 2 at home, then they go back. It's the raucous crowd. They're excited. They're 2-0. They lose game 3. I forget that score was. Game 3 score was 4-1. Kind of sluggish game. They couldn't get the bats going. Game 4 was a blowout, 8-1. And then eventually game 5 was 7-1. So they got pooped on their home court. On their home field at home to eventually, they could have clinched at home. And you know how much that crowd could have been, how loud that crowd could have been, knowing that if they won 2 of those games, they would be crowned in the World Series championship at home. But they come back game 6, they go into Houston, they get off to a quick 1-0 lead. Then the Astros hit a 2-run home run. Then the 2-run innings in the 5th, in the 7th, and also the 9th gave the Nationals a 7-2 lead, and they tied up the series going back to Game 7, which I just talked about. But yes, I think the Nationals did deserve this win. It was time. They had to win somehow, some way, and I think they did a really good job doing it. Their manager, Dave Martinez, deserves a lot of credit for sticking to that bullpen. Not a lot of rest between this bullpen, obviously, with the scores I just gave you, 7-1, 7-2, 8-1. This bullpen had to throw a lot of pitches, but credit to Dave Martinez. They held their own down there in Houston in that raucous crowd, and that's why they're the 2019 World Series champions. To one Nationals team to the other Houston Astros team. I'm just gonna bring up this topic. Why the hell did Garrett Cole not even throw a pitch? I mean, why'd you trade him? Why'd you acquire him from the Pirates? It doesn't make sense. He's been phenomenal this year. I think I might get these months swapped up, but I think it was the last time he gave up an earned win was a February, if I'm not mistaken. Might be mistaken. Don't fact check me on that one. But he didn't even throw a pitch. You had that time. I'm going to tell you what. Greinke went 6 1/3. They could have brought in Cole, and the game might have been over. Because at that time, Greinke gave it the home on the rundown. I think he walked Soto. And he let up the dinger to, eventually, Harry Kendrick. Well, he brought in Will Harris, and he let the dinger up to Harry Kendrick. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I don't get it. Why bring Will Harris in, who's been struggling all postseason, and don't give me this crap about, oh, he's a great reliever. You have a Cy Young winning award pitcher in Garrett Cole sitting in the bullpen begging the pitch. So why not pitch him? I'm not no manager. I'm not no AJ Hinch. But it should be kind of obvious, guys. How hard can it be? Just call the manager on that little phone. Say, oh, get Cole up. How hard can it be? Doesn't seem that hard to me. Doesn't seem that hard at all. At all. Could this move, not bring Garrett Cole? Because Garrett Cole's going to get paid, I tell you. He will get paid as much money as he wants. He wants a dog, he'll get 2 dogs. He wants a mansion, he'll get 3 mansions. He wants a pool, he'll get 4 pools. Wherever he goes, whether it's New York, Los Angeles, Braves, Houston, Nationals, Phillies, hell, Pittsburgh, he'll get whatever he wants. But could this, Game 7 factor Garrett Cole's decision? How is he going to trust AJ Hinch now? That he knows he's not going to put him in a big game because, Garrett Cole hasn't pitched a relief game, I saw the stat right now, since high school or college. I think it was high school. He hasn't been a reliever since high school or college. And he's 29, he's 30-year-old pitcher wanting to pitch in MLB Game 7 World Series, biggest game of his life. And he doesn't even get to throw a pitch. May I say, a Cy Young winner. A soon-to-be Cy Young winner. Can't even pitch in a Game 7 when he's going to get paid $40 to $30 million this offseason. I don't know whose decision it was to go to Harris, but clearly it didn't work. It didn't work. All I have to say is it didn't work, guys. So maybe next time, bring in the pitcher who maybe will make it work. Cough, cough, Garrett Cole. Why the hell did you go trade for him if you're not even going to pitch him? He didn't throw a pitch last night. He was warming up about 5th inning. He needs to see a pitch. Hell, this guy could have gotten a beer and some nachos at the time. Why even suit up if he's not even going to pitch? Don't make sense to me. Don't make sense to me at all. I'm going to take a quick break, preview the Warriors and the NBA when we come back here on Sports Hits with cwit. Back right after the break. From baseball, we shift To the NBA, Steph Curry, the star point guard for the Golden State Warriors, has injured his hand. Broke his hand, excuse me. And the Warriors have gotten off to a, let's just say, slow start this year. First off, they got blown out by the Clippers at home in their new arena. It's just struggling times to be a Warriors fan right now. They're getting not a lot of defense, let's just say. I guess you could say that. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, their best defenders, Draymond Green, Curry's hurt, D'Angelo Russell's no good defender. They won one game against the struggling Pelicans. They're 1-3 to start the year, and not what you're looking for from the defending finalists for the NBA Finals. But they're still, can this team win? He'll probably be out for a week. A month, I would say, for a broken hand. I mean, he could probably, I wouldn't, if I were the Warriors, I would not rush this guy. He's making $1 billion the next 5 years for you guys, so why rush him? But I saw this earlier on ESPN, and I think it's totally like the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Should Steph Curry rest the rest of the year? Because, quote unquote, the Warriors are tanking. Does it look like this team is tanking? What's your definition of tanking? It's playing down to their competition. The Warriors, you could say they're down to competition. They're not trying. This team is good. This team is real good. I think this team can turn it around to do pretty good this year. Willie Cauley-Stein's a pretty solid player. Draymond Green's very good. Looney's a role player, but he's great. Pascal can shoot the ball. Poole can shoot the ball. GR3 can shoot. He's a playmaker from Michigan. D'Angelo Russell's a playmaker and an ISO player. Klay Thompson's going to be back maybe this year. Not sure about that. Steve Kerr is an awesome coach. So why rest Curry? What's the point? To get a higher draft pick? I mean, okay. I'm going to tell you one move who I think should happen, but probably won't. And I think it will benefit the teams and the NBA, is I think Andre Iguodala should go to the Lakers. They could buy out for whatever they want because they're the Los Angeles Lakers and they can do whatever they want. Buy him out. He'll be guarding Kawhi. He's a great defender. He is a veteran in this league. He's given LeBron James trouble a lot of times. So I think it'd be a great move for the NBA and the Lakers. Iguodala, I think he's on the Grizzlies, but he may have his contract bought out. I'm not sure how this whole thing works, but apparently you could just buy him from someone. But I think it'd be well worth it. He's 6'6", he's 35, he's a great player. He's a role player at best, and he's done phenomenal for these Warriors back in 2015 where he won the Finals MVP because he shut down the king himself, LeBron James. Now he'd be teammates with LeBron James, and that'd make a pretty good duo if you ask me. But he probably would come off the bench, but that's a great veteran presence off the bench to mentor some of these younger players. We're going to take a quick break, get the football. 25 from the hour, Sports Hits with cwit. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Sports Hits with cwit. I'm going to get into football. If Baker Mayfield doesn't get his attitude right, he's going towards Johnny Manziel 2.0 with commercials. This guy is just an attitude freak. He walked out of the interview yesterday, and I'm not going to be one of those who brags, but I told you so. I told you this guy's going to be a toxic player in this league. You could tell it. This guy in Oklahoma, he wasn't ready for the NFL. He wasn't respectable at all. that Kansas game showed you. I don't think I could say it on this podcast, but he reached for some pretty inappropriate stuff in that game, and I don't know why he was put in this Browns organization in the first place. I mean, he's an okay talent. He's getting a little fat. Let's be honest. He needs to go back to Lincoln Riley camp for another couple years, and maybe he'll develop to rookie Baker Mayfield. But seriously, that's to tell you how great Lincoln Riley is. Baker Mayfield has been struggling this year. He's leading the league in turnover. The Browns are leading the league in turnovers, which doesn't sound right if you come from Oklahoma and get coached by Lincoln Riley. They rarely turn the ball over down there. But Baker has a lot of work to do, and I don't think he's on the right track doing it. Spending most of his times at commercial sets and all that stuff, yada yada yada. And Baker's not in the right path. He could be Johnny Manziel 2.0 with commercials. I'm going to tell you why the Eagles lost the deadline. Eagles, they have a lot of problems. I mean, their coach is kind of an idiot, no offense. When you call out a win and then get blown out by 30, something needs to change, I guess. But I guess not. And then when you cut this cornerback, he gets cut for a week, and he is just going on First Take, skipping Shannon, all these shows, and telling them how toxic that team was. It's really bad. It's really bad. And they needed secondary help. They addressed none of that. They needed receiver help. They addressed none of that. And they're stuck with a guy, Carson Wentz, who's dying for some receivers who can actually catch the ball. But this team has a lot of problems, and in my eyes, are not beating the Cowboys at all. They won't even touch the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a very good football team. So, done with the Eagles, on to college football. I'm going to go through every top 10 rated team, and I'm going to tell you what their chances are making or even winning college football playoff. I'm going to go by the AP top 25. I'm going to do first 10 for you guys here. And I'm going to tell you, LSU, this is their best team in a while. It's kind of funny with LSU. You look at their defense, they're always going to have a great defense, consistent year in, year out. But you look at their offense and then you question stuff. Not this year with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has been phenomenal. That Saints offensive coordinator is really helping with this guy. A new system going up. He's a Heisman candidate. And if you ask me today, I say Joe Burrow is a Heisman. 100%. He has been phenomenal this year, what this team has done. Beat Texas, beat Florida the other week. They got a matchup with Alabama coming up in the next week. And now that leads us to number 2, Alabama. It's a little weird with Alabama because I don't think they're that good, but they're still Alabama. I'm not all in on Tua Tagovailoa. I'm not all in. Their defense is okay, you could say, but they still got arguably the best coach in all of college football, Nick Saban, to lead the crew. This is a good Alabama team. I don't know if it's LSU good. Ohio State is ranked number 3, and if Ohio State doesn't win this year, you could say it's an embarrassment because they were so confident with Justin Fields, and he's been phenomenal this year. Chase Young has been great. Jeffrey Okudah. But this team hasn't played a snap in the second half of a game. On the road, it being a one-possession game. You could argue they're likely getting that with Michigan because Michigan wants to spoil Ohio State's season. I tell you that right now from a Michigan fan. I want to spoil it. I don't want to see Ohio State go to the national championship or even the playoff. I want them to lose so bad. We'll see what they can do, though. Best quarterback in a while, best team in a while. Question marks about the coach. Number 4, Clemson. Arguably one of the most underlooked teams in the college football. Everyone's looking at LSU and a firepower offense. Clemson, you could say they struggled this year, but it's a rebuilding year. Obviously, they graduated so many people last year on that championship run. They still got Trevor Lawrence, they still got Dabo Swinney, and they still got some pretty goddamn good receivers in T. Higgins and Justin Ross. So don't count out the Clemson Tigers. They're in it, and they might even win it all. Penn State, I'm not too high on because they're going to play Ohio State, but Penn State's a pretty good team. Still comes some question marks about their quarterback. Has he played in a big game? Yes, but he's not been in a whiteout in a big game. He hasn't been in a non-whiteout in a big game, so he'll get a run for his money when Ohio State plays Penn State in a couple of weeks. Florida, I just don't see Florida getting in with the SEC up in jeopardy. They'd have to, find a miracle and win the SEC championship for them to get in. It's not realistic at all. So this time, the Gators will likely miss another NCAA college football playoff. Oregon, I said this a couple weeks ago. If Oregon wins out, they're in. Justin Herbert, the senior, and it's a weak Pac-12. So you can't argue if you put 2 SEC teams that you can't not put Oregon in there. They have every right to deserve it. They lost a heartbreaker to Auburn, who's rated 11th, and you just can't not put this team if they win out. Georgia, they need a miracle to happen. Obviously, they got to win out, and then they got to win the SEC championship, which will be hard to say whether they play LSU or Alabama. It's going to be a tough game, really gritty. 2 great teams going at it again in the SEC championship. Hopefully, they don't blow a lead like they did last year to Jalen Hurts. Utah, I don't think they're in because they're in that Pac-12. And Oklahoma, you could say that they could be in, but they did lose to Kansas State, but remember a couple years ago when Ohio State lost to Virginia Tech and they got in? It's kind of the same thing with Oklahoma. So why does Oklahoma not get in, but Ohio State did get in 2015 when they went on that national championship run? I still think Oklahoma's a great team. They got themselves down in that game. Defense didn't play very well. The offense is very explosive with Jalen Hurts. But we'll see what the Sooners can do in the upcoming weeks. They got to win the Big 12 championship big if they want to make the college football playoffs. So that's my 10 teams there. So Michigan football, they're ranked, 14 right now. People's been doubting my boys. Excuse me. They've been doubting them, and they just smacked Notre Dame around. I love that game. They just kept running the ball up in their face. They couldn't stop the run. And people say if it was just exploding Notre Dame or just Michigan is that good. I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, Michigan will play Ohio State in the game coming up, but luckily it's at home. Wolverines are probably out of the playoff picture, but they could spoil a couple seasons while you're at it. So if you guys didn't notice, it is Halloween, so we're going to play a quick game of king size or fun size. I'm going to go through every NFL team, and I'm going to tell you if I'm all in on this team or all out. So we're going to start in the AFC East. The New England Patriots, definitely a king size. This team has been phenomenal up to an 8-0 start. They only allowed 61 points. Are on an 8-game win streak. This team is a great defense, one of the best defenses I've seen in a while. They have been phenomenal what Belichick has done with that team. So very much king size, maybe even a share size for these New England Patriots. Buffalo Bills, I kind of look back at myself with this team because obviously they got pounded at home versus the Eagles. They're 3-0 on the 3-0 on the road, which is intriguing, but I don't know at the same time. But Buffalo Bills offense, I don't like him. I love Josh Allen coming out of college from Wyoming, but he's not that good with the system they got down there in Buffalo. Need some changes in the offseason for them to wrap that up. Off to a 5-2 start. I'm gonna give this a close fun size because I'm not all in on this team. New York Jets don't need to explain much. 1-6 allowed 185 points. Threatened to trade their superstar safety, probably one of the best players in the NFL, Jamal Adams, which is, it's a mess. It's a fun size. Sorry, Jets. Miami Dolphins, same things, fun size for this team. Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North, I am all in on the Ravens, king size. This is coming from a Steelers fan, if you guys didn't know that. Lamar Jackson, I love him this year. I think he's a great runner. Throw some passes in there, too. He'd be a great player. Hall of Fame candidate, of course, if this guy can get his accuracy up. Defense is well coached by John Harbaugh, who is a top 5 coach in this league. Top 3, if you want to argue it. Follow me on Twitter, Steel City Sport 4, and tweet me at it if you want to argue if John Harbaugh is a top 3 coach in this league. I sure think he is, and this is coming from Steelers, right, ladies and gentlemen. Pittsburgh Steelers, 3-4. I'm going a fun size. They're not going to win with their second-string quarterback, Mason Rudolph. I think he's okay, but I don't think, you could say this offense is a little dysfunctional. They had a slow start versus Miami. They came back to reality. I just don't believe in this team. And also, this is coming from a Steelers fan, so it's hard to believe. Cleveland Browns, I'm giving this a very quick fun size. This team is not very good. They've allowed the most penalties in the league. They've had the most turnovers in the league. You're not going to win the NFL. And their coach needs to be fired immediately because he is darn right awful. Cincinnati Bengals, fun size. Indianapolis Colts, king size until the playoffs. I'm in on Jacoby Brissett, but I'm not in for the playoffs. This team is a fringe wild card team. They're going to be like the Texans last year. They're going to play someone like the Colts. Like the Colts did to the Texans last year. Texans had high hopes coming into the year and got smacked around in the wild card weekend. I think that's what the Colts team's going to do. So I'm going to give this one a slow, fun size for this one. Houston Texans. I'm going to give this one a fun size also. This Texans team, obviously they lost J.J. Watt this past week for the year with a torn pec. Deshaun Watson can't do everything. I know they got weapons in Hopkins and Stills and Will Fuller and all those guys, and they got a pretty good offensive line with Laramie Thompson leading the crew, but I just don't see this team going deep in a deep AFC South. Jaguars, Gardner Minshew, this is a fun size. Gardner's luck is running out, I tell you. And the Titans are an immediate fun size. This Kansas City Chiefs team's in the AFC West. This is a king size. Obviously, if they get Patrick Mahomes back, this team is very, very well. Surprisingly, they're 1-3 at home and they're 4-0 on the road, which they would likely go to Foxborough in the playoffs. And hopefully they have their star quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, healthy at that time. Obviously, he's suffering the knee injury suffered against the Broncos last Thursday night. But I think this team struggled on defense, but I think their high-power offense can keep them in the game. So king size for the Chiefs. Oakland Raiders, I'm giving this team a actual king size. I like this team a lot. I think John Gruden's done a pretty good job with that team. Knock on wood if you're with me. Derek Carr has been very efficient this year, and he's found a very, very, very good new target, Darren Waller, the tight end, who's been phenomenal this year, whether you have him in fantasy or whether you're just a Raiders fan in general. This team is pretty good. They're okay on defense, but I think their high-powered offense with Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Tyrell Williams, and even Derek Carr can lead this team. I like them right now. I don't think this team's a playoff team. They're a fringe 500 team, even if they get in with a tough AFC. Los Angeles Chargers, I'm giving this one a fun size. I'd like to see what they do this week versus the Packers. Game picks coming up in a little bit, but the Chargers, this is kind of a test, so right now I'm giving them a fun size, and then the Broncos obviously will get a fun size. Dallas Cowboys moving to the NFC East. Dallas Cowboys, I'm all in on the Cowboys this year. I think they got a great team. Obviously, if they acquired Jamal Adams at the trade deadline, that would have boosted their secondary very much so. This is a great team. I think Dak Prescott's a very good quarterback. Zeke and Amari Cooper are handling a high-powered offense with that team. I think this team is a very good team in a deep NFC East. Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to give this one a fun size. The Eagles have allowed 199 points, and they didn't address any of the secondary or receivers at the trade deadline, so fun size for the Eagles. Last two teams, Giants and Redskins, both get fun size, both dealing with rookie quarterbacks right now. So it's hard to say with this team, but who knows? Maybe one of them could go off and maybe lead them to a playoff or something. NFC North, Green Bay Packers. This one is a definitely king size. Aaron Rodgers has turned it around very much so. Is in the MVP conversation this year. He's had a phenomenal year, and I mean phenomenal year with new head coach Matt LaFleur. Offense is being very explosive. Aaron Jones, they're going to get Devontae Adams back in a couple of weeks. Jimmy Graham. But the main focus about the Packers this year is their defense. They've went out and they've acquired a lot of pass rushers this year. Darius Smith, with Sean Gary and all those guys anchoring the middle. Pretty good secondary with Jerry Alexander and Darnell Savage in the secondary, the rookie from Maryland. But I think this Green Bay Packers team, as long as they have number 12, they're going to be a team to watch in the NFC North. Minnesota Vikings 6-2 coming in, 2-2 on the away and 4-0 at home. I think this team is a king size, but it all depends on how Kirk Cousins plays. Obviously, Kirk Cousins, my nickname for him is Mr. Inconsistent himself, Kirk Cousins. So it's hard to tell at the Vikings. If they peak at the right time, they can definitely be a playoff team, but it's going to matter what they do in the upcoming weeks with hard games coming up and even a division game coming up against Packers. Detroit Lions, this one's a fun size. Lions are heading in the right direction, but they're not totally there yet. And then Chicago Bears, if I could, I'd just give this one a baby size, but I can't, so I'm going to give this one a fun size. They've allowed 122 points because of that great defense down there in Chicago. Khalil Mack has been phenomenal this year. But, again, they have Mitchell Trubisky, so not going to go into him because he is downright awful, awful. NFC South, New Orleans Saints. This one's a definitely, most definitely king size. Teddy Bridgewater came in and led their team to a 5-0 record. Now hands things off to Drew Brees, see what he could do, maybe even lead this team to a playoff victory after they're eager to get back to the Super Bowl after that non-call versus the Rams last year. Carolina Panthers, this team's a fun size. They got a little reality check with the 49ers last week after Kyle Allen went 4-0 to start his NFL career. And he got the best running back in the league, in my opinion. Christian McCaffrey can do everything. He can catch the ball, he can run the ball, he can throw the ball. Whatever you want this guy to do, Christian McCaffrey will do it. This guy is phenomenal. The defense still has question marks. Brian Burns having a great year, though. Luke Kuechly anchoring the middle, and Jared McCoy anchoring the defense tackle position. Still, this team is a fun size, in my opinion. Not going to catch up to the Saints. Likely not to get a wild card spot, especially with how the Eagles are playing, Vikings are playing, Seahawks and the Rams are playing at second and third place in their division. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I like this team, but they're just not there yet. Jameis Winston hasn't been doing well at all lately. He seems like he's a turnover machine if you think about it, but we'll see what he could do. They just got him thrown up to Mike Evans all the time. He's a great, great player. 50-50 balls, likely he's coming down with it. So we'll see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can do finishing out the season. Going to learn a lot if Jameis Winston is the future or is he the past. Atlanta Falcons, definitely fun size. Not going to go in the Falcons. Embarrassing what they're doing this year. San Francisco 49ers, this is definitely king size. This team to run the ball on offense, pound the ground, and their defense with Robert Saleh has been absolutely amazing this year. This team is a dangerous team that could legit beat the Patriots with that defense, and they're going to run the ball on you, and the Patriots have struggled with the run this year. So I think the 49ers is a definite king size. Seattle Seahawks sitting at second place in their division, 2-2 at home, 4-0 on the road, which believes me to think that Seattle is a better road team than a home team. But I think Seattle is a great team. Obviously, they got one of the best players in the league, Russell Wilson. But they're behind the 49ers at this point, and it's hard to come back with a 7-0 team, soon to be 8-0 team, as they kick off in about an hour and a half against Arizona Cardinals, who we'll get to in a minute. So this one's a king size, but a lot of work to do in the NFC West. Los Angeles Rams, this one's a fun size in my opinion. Actually, I'm going to give this one a king size. I've been debating this one all day long. I think the Rams have a great team. Obviously, they got a little reality check down there when they got beat by Robert Saleh and the 49ers. I think this team has taken a couple steps back, but they're trying to take it forward. Obviously, they got the bye week this week, so they can prepare for the Steelers. They've got next week. So I think this team is a fringe wildcard team if you look at it, but they got to produce W's immediately if they want to make these playoffs. Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to give this one a fun size, but they're trending in the right direction. Kyler Murray, I've doubted this guy so much, and I could have never been wrong about this guy enough. This guy has been phenomenal this year, especially as a rookie. Definitely going to be in the Rookie of the Year conversation besides Nick Bosa, but this guy fits Cliff Kingsbury's system. Defense needs to clean up a little bit. We're going to take a quick break. 5 from the hour, sports hits with cwit. Actually, we are not going to take a break. I'm going to give you 3 keys to the game that the Steelers need to execute to beat the Colts. 1, stop the run. This team loves to run the ball. You saw what they did to the Chiefs. They ran it down their throat. They kept Mahomes off the field. They're going to try to do the same, take the crowd out of the game, and it's going to be a tough, tough time handling all these running backs down there in Indy. Number 2, get Mason Rudolph going with some easy throws and some short throws early on. Mason Rudolph, you saw struggles last week versus the Dolphins, and it's the Dolphins, ladies and gentlemen, but you got to get this guy going, and he can sling it, I tell you. And then the third and final thing is they can't turn it over. You saw what they did last week. Mason threw a interception early on, and it led to a 7-0 lead, kind of backtracked our defense and offense, thinking that we can't score. So that's my 3 keys to the game. 5 from the hour, sports hits with cwit. We'll return after this break. And game picks. Game picks, NFL season week 9 is about to kick off in about an hour and a half here. We got the Niners taking on the Cardinals. I think this game is in Arizona. I'm not sure about that, though. I have to fact check that. Dang it. I think the Niners will take care of business 28-10. I think Robert Saleh has a game plan for Kyler Murray, and he's going to execute it very well. Look out for Nick Bosa. Rainen has been very well these past couple of weeks. And look out for the Niners. So I think the Niners will win this game 28-10. Jaguars and Texans. I got the Texans winning this game. I think the Texans are just a tad bit better than the Jaguars. Obviously, you look at their 2 QBs, you look at Gardner Minshew and see what he's done this year. But Deshaun Watson is a whole different quote-unquote dog than Gardner Minshew. So I think the Texans will win this game 33-28. Bears and Eagles, I got the Eagles winning this game 24-13. The Bears offense has been so dysfunctional this year. I can't even talk about it. That's how dysfunctional this offense has been. So I think the Eagles will capitalize in Soldier Field and end up winning 24-13. The Chiefs and Vikings, this one is depending on if Pat Mahomes plays. I say he doesn't play. Say he rests me for another week. So I think the Vikings will win this game 27-21 with Kirk Cousins rolling in that Chiefs secondary. Colts and Steelers, I have the Colts winning this game. As much as it hurts to say, I have the Colts winning 24-17. I just don't think Mason Rudolph can do really well against this team who's taking care of Pat Mahomes this year. And they're coming off the win versus the Broncos, which they'll be motivated about. So I think the Colts will win this game 24-17. The Jets and Dolphins, I have the Jets winning this game. Excuse me. Some team is going to have to win here, and I think the Jets will win because the Dolphins, will will play them tough, and then they'll end up, saying, guys, go tank. We want Tua Tagovailoa. But I think the Jets will win this game 26-16 with Le'Veon Bell having a big, and I mean big, capitalized B-I-G, big day against the Dolphins. Bills and Redskins, I got the Bills winning this game 24-11 with likely Dwayne Haskins starting this week for the Redskins. Look to see Sean McDermott, defensive-minded coach, get after him early and often. The Bills' defense has been phenomenal this year. I think they'll put Tre'Davious White, and he'll put Terry McLaurin to sleep, I think. He won't get a catch, in my opinion. Tre'Davious White, one of the best corners in the league. The Titans and Panthers, I got the Panthers winning this game 27-20 because of one person only, number 22, Christian McCaffrey himself. This guy has been phenomenal. MVP candidate for sure. Obviously, he's not going to win it because he's a running back, and quarterbacks usually win it. But this guy should be in the MVP conversation, and he just might win it all. Lions and Raiders, I think this game will be a shootout down there in Las Vegas. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I think the Raiders will end up winning this game. Obviously, I'm really high on the Raiders coming in. I think they got a very efficient offense with Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, and Derek Carr, as well as Tyrell Williams. I think their defense will do just enough to turn over Matt Stafford late in the game, and they will win 34-31. The Bucs and Seahawks, I had the Seahawks winning this game 35-28. I think the Seahawks will be too much. I think this game will be a mini shootout, in my opinion, but I think the Seahawks will be too much for the Buccaneers at the end of the game, and will win 35-28. Packers and Chargers, this game is in Los Angeles, I'm pretty sure. So likely the Packers will have a home game if you think about it. What Steeler Nation did to Los Angeles past couple of weeks ago. And Packers fans travel really well, but I think the Packers will win this game 34-28 in overtime with Aaron Rodgers having the game-winning touchdown pass to Jimmy Graham. Browns and Broncos, I got the Browns winning this game, getting kind of back on track 24-14. I think this defense will be too much for the rookie quarterback Brandon Allen, who will likely make his first start of the year and his career, replacing Joe Flacco with the quote-unquote neck injury. But the Browns will probably likely get back on track with the win versus the Broncos. The Patriots and Ravens, I have the Ravens winning this game, I think they're going to pound it down the Patriots defense. This defense has been struggling lately with the run. You saw what Nick Chubb did to them. Luckily, those fumbles, or else the Browns could have played with the Patriots. But I think Lamar Jackson will have a big game running and throwing the ball, and the Patriots don't want to play their best ball now. They'd rather save it for October or November. So I think the Patriots will save it for the playoffs, and I think the Ravens will win 28-21. Cowboys and Giants, I think this game will be a mini shootout. Dak Prescott, Saquon Barkley, both playmakers on the side, two of the best running backs in the league, and Zeke and Saquon. But I think the Cowboys would be too much for the rookie quarterback, Daniel Jones. I think they will win 30-23. Hot takes for you guys. Michigan basketball is going to be a 3 seed. This team is very good if you look at it. They've lost Ignas this year. Isaiah Livers has come back, and I heard he's had a great offseason to coach Juwan Howard. They've got Teskey coming back for his senior year, and the man himself, Xavier Simpson, coming back. So this team could be a legit 3 seed in this tournament, with Juwan Howard being the first coach to lead his team to a 3 seed. Alabama gets killed, and I mean killed, by LSU. LSU's offense is going to be too much for Alabama. It's going to be a hostile environment, which Joe Burrow has to adapt to, but he's played in one before against Texas this year. So I think he'll be ready to go. He'll be highly motivated. They want to beat Alabama. They'll likely get into the SEC championship and then the college football playoffs. So I think LSU will pretty handedly beat Alabama on the road at Bear Bryant Stadium. And my third and final hot take is Pat Mahomes. They're going to say he's not going to play the next couple of weeks, but this Chiefs team is only 5-3, and I have them losing this week if you think about it versus the Vikings. So I think he's gonna rest this week, and then they're realizing they're only 5-4. They only got a 1-game win in the division, so he's gonna come back in and save the day. So that's gonna be it, folks. Thank you so much for listening. This means a lot to me. I've had a lot of fun doing these podcasts. Obviously, this is one of the careers Charlie and I want to pursue in our future. So tell your friends, family, cousins, dogs, friends, dogs, cousins, whatever the heck you got to do to get my name out there. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Enjoy the games over the weekend. I'll see you next Tuesday and next Thursday, guys. Enjoy the game. See you next time.
That convertible drop fill, 87 the top pill. Back, you know what it is. Yeah, you know what it is. Y'all already know what it is, man. If you don't, you should by now. When you see me, you know everything. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I put it down, Taylor gang. My diamonds are in black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Yeah, you know what it is. Everything I do it big.